Hey folks, welcome back to Only the Best Fantasy Novels. My name is Robin, and today I want to talk about Captain's Fury, the fourth book in the Codex Alera series by Jim Butcher. This is a series that I had a bit of a rocky start with, but each book just continues to grow and more and more on me. And like the previous book, the third book, it really clicked. I felt like, and this one just kind of escalated things to a whole new like even further. Like this series is really becoming intense. It's really becoming well fleshed out. The conflict is taking on multiple layers, and yeah, like before I get into all of that, what is Captain's Fury even about? So the Alliance and the Kingdom have been at war for 2 years now, following the events of the Curser's Fury. Tavi has figured out the reason for the invasion, and he suspects that there may be a way for an alliance to be forged between the alliance and the kingdom. But mainly because there is a larger threat that's looming that threatens both parties. But Tavi isn't the only player on the Lotus board, and for an alliance to be forged, he first has to contend with the greed of men. So an alliance sounds good on paper, but is he able to? Is he able? Are the Alerans, I should say, are they able to humble themselves enough to bring such an alliance to fruition? That's essentially what this whole book is about. Um, so this is probably the most intense book to date. Like in this one we see Tavi thrown into a completely new scenario yet again. Like each one of these books, he's just in a brand new situation that he has to figure out his way with. In this particular one, he's been a captain of the First Solarian for two years basically, and he has a lot of experience dealing like fighting with the Caden, which is a source of contention when senator who is obviously very backward and wants to just in true Roman fashion he just wants to he works under the assumption that anything that's not Roman is inferior, not Illyrian is inferior, I should say, and the kingdom can't possibly be as dangerous as they are, and they can't possibly be as smart as the reports are, and he takes charge of the war effort, as voted by the Senate, and he's pretty much going to make sure they all get killed effectively. And the First Lord dispatches Tavi into this situation to try and reduce the damage and save as many lives as possible. So this book becomes much more of a political back and forth, almost like a Ludus game, a chessboard game between Tavi and the senator, as Tavi tries to save as many lives as possible, reduce the harm that the senator does, while still maintaining a strong front against the kingdom to get to the point where they could potentially form an alliance. So it's a pretty it's a pretty intense situation. It's a pretty unique situation for him to be in. And while all of that is going on, there's still also the civil war that's been going on between the First Lord and High Lord Kalari. And in this one, the First Lord finally decides, like, this one finally breaks the whole YA trope of the series, where only the young characters somehow have all the agency. In this one, the First Lord finally gets up and says, okay, I'm gonna do something. And he sets out to wrap up that particular thread. And he does it in pretty spectacular and gruesome fashion. is is one way of putting it. But yeah, he's finally forced to take a stand there. But mainly, like one of the huge draws of this book is that it really shows us just how much Tavi has blossomed as a character over the 2 years. Like the Tavi that we meet here is someone who's matured quite a bit from the previous book. Like he's now been at war for 2 years, at the forefront of war. He's been he's been a captain for 2 years, so he's no longer pretending to be a military person. He is a military person. He has that bearing, that persona, that strength, essentially. Like a lot of growth happened off screen, but it makes sense and it works well for the story it amplifies the entertainment of the story, because we're kind of not wasting time watching him go through this development. The book just goes in true Jay Butcher style, just goes pedal to the metal, straight to the entertainment, straight to the action, straight to the meat of the conflict. So that kind of amplifies the enjoyment of the series. Like I said, I think I've mentioned this in previous videos, but if you're a character driven reader, this is not the series for you. Like, it's very, there is some character development that does happen on page, but it's mainly plot, it's mainly action driven. Like, that's where the entertainment is. So go into this series with your eyes wide open if you are. Thinking back on the general plot of this book, honestly, it's unlike, I think, for all the other previous books. Like, it's very linear. Like, at the start of this the book, you have a clear idea of what the objective is over the course of the book, the plot that needs to be delved in, and with minor, like, little to no deviation, that's kind of where the story goes. There are some subplots and some other threads that weave throughout the story naturally, because there are other characters that they don't even bother to talk about, and other things that go on in the background. But with aside from that, like, you start at A, you know you're going to finish at B, and you basically go straight to B. Yeah, that's it. In terms of, like, the other characters that I mentioned, there's a budding romance between two characters that is kind of realistic, but at the same time, I don't know, it feels a bit weird to me. It doesn't really feel like a real thing. Maybe it's just the way that it's introduced and it's slowly unfolding. But for me, my favorite part of this book was just the moments that Isana and Kitai had, where they basically bonded over their love of Tavi. Like, Kitai is my favorite character of this series. Like, Kitai is the goat of this whole series for me, and the way she handles Isana over the course of this book, her, in terms of our culture, like, the way she handles her mother-in-law is, like, it's hilarious. It was entertainment to the max. Yeah, honestly, like, this book just continues to excel at what's been going on with it. Like, it just continues to perfect how the series has been going on so far. Like, a lot of action, a lot of political drama, a lot of entertainment, some big set pieces and some big action sequences, and some, like, really sharp moments to really drive home that, with of course, this being Jim Butcher, entertaining dialogue and all these things. Like, that's just standard for Jim Butcher at this point. Like, that's all included here. Overall, I have to say, it's just another great installment. It was been a really fun series. Like, this book is, and this series in general, it is almost like Swiss cheese. Like, yeah, there's a bunch of holes in it. If you're looking for, like, depth and nuance and, like, character driven stuff and so, but it tastes pretty good. I entered this series with low to moderate expectations, and in that regard, Jim Butcher's kind of defeated them, in that he's making a series, he's crafting a series that's much more entertaining than I anticipated. And even though you know where things are going to head to, it really doesn't matter. This is a series where you're just enjoying the ride, and whatever happens, happens. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about Captain's Fury. If you've made it this far into the video, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.